Hi YouTube. I just wanted to do a follow-up video on my life unfolding series. It's not really a series, but that's pretty much what I call it. Anyways, the last video I had posted along the lines of my life unfolding was back in February 2019. So it's been just only a little over a year. I'm still doing human design. I'm still working with astrology, and that I have I lean more towards human design. I do this my way. It's unique, individual. Of course, I've learned a lot more in the last a little over a year. In my other video, I'd mentioned that I had become aware of human design from another astrologer that I was not really working with, but we were in communication on a forum. We're both students. And yeah, it's we were talking about, for example, we were talking about the gut brain. And, from a well, I grew up in a health food store, so I know a lot about that kind of stuff. And he had written a paper and had posted it, and we ended up in a discussion about it. And then a couple of days after that, he had mentioned that I would resonate with human design because I have a defined sacral, which is, part of the gut brain. Anyways, he didn't say anything else to me at all about it. Didn't try to share with me a specific way of getting into it or looking at it, which actually in hindsight I'm very, very thankful because of my design. And I really feel, I know he saw my design. He must have, because otherwise he would have never known I was sacral being. So when I went to look for what, some human design stuff to tap into, I ended up buying Chetan Parkins, I hope I pronounced that correctly, books. And it was my first experience in human design was through Chetan. And after that, I had, I learned my design as best as I could. When you first come into it, it is like way out there. It is definitely a lot different. It is still based on your astrology as far as your birth time. And then it also includes, it's a synthesis of astrology and the I Ching and the Kabbalah and the chakra system. But instead of having 7 chakras, what is in the human design body graph is 9 centers, which is really cool. So, after that, I did that, and I did a few readings for family members, and it was kind of cool. It was very surface stuff for those who are in human design that have delved below the surface. I was really on the surface because I was just still learning. And then, I kind of set that aside because, I was really into my astrology. And about 6 months, 9 months after that, I happened to, I just felt this nudge within myself to relook at human design. And it's funny because it happened to be right around the exact date of what's called my design birthday, which is 88 degrees of the sun before your natal birthday. So, I come across a gal named Evelyn, and she has a massive blog on all kinds of stuff. And it was just so awesome to be able to tap into that. And through that, I came across Karen Curry Parker. And that was her teacher, Evelyn's teacher. So I ended up getting into, reading her stuff. And then I've also tapped into a couple of groups in human design where the teachers were, a little more open. And I ended up reading and learning from Steve Rhodes' books, which were very awesome. I really enjoy all of the different teachers of human design, all their different perspectives. I think it's just wonderful. Um, and then, of course, Richard Rudd, who does the Gene Keys, and both are all, and let me just say, all four of these teachers that I have already mentioned and people who have written books, all of them studied with Ra at different points in from when after Ra when he started teaching this material. And so it's really fascinating to be able to tap into teachers who have actually studied with and learned from Ra himself. And then to see how they have broken from the more traditional way, or however you'd want to put that, into doing their own thing and expressing it from their own personal experience of their mechanics. Because as Ross says, and this is so true, that there are the mechanics, but because of the underlying information like the colors and the tones and the bases, each line and each gate is going to experience the mechanics in a different way, which is beautiful because this human design is all about the differentiation of the individual and being able to see the mechanics and how everything works, knowing that just because you may have the same mechanics as somebody else, like twins, for example, their experience of those mechanics are going to be a little bit different, because when you get down further, there's going to be some difference. Mind you, there are some that have the exact same under the surface stuff of colors and tones and the bases, and even then they can still experience it a little differently, which is really cool, because even though twins, for example, are so much alike, that makes sense of why, but also why they have some of those still different aspects in how they experience their life. And so it's just really beautiful. So for me, I've really grown a lot. I mean, I've gone through a lot of transformation. Of course, my transformation really started back in 2008, when Pluto hit my sun in astrology, and it was a very traumatic, or okay, it felt really traumatic at the time, but in hindsight, man, it's like it was so freeing to be able to break out of my narrowness. And when we can do that and really see such a broader vision and more of how we don't all have the same perspective. And, you know, coming into human design has really helped me with that, because I'm the type of person, my mind is what is called left. And so I don't know if that went the right way on the video, but my mind is more left. So I have more of a narrow focus on what I see. Everything is filtered through my own personal experience, and I can see the perfected potential in everything, the rosy glasses. But now I know that it doesn't mean that all that I see the potential of and perfection is going to even play out, especially with others, because we all see differently. We all view things differently. We have a different perspective, and it just makes it that much more beautiful. Now for me, I mean, before, no, because I wanted everybody to think the way I did, because I know what's right. I know what needs to be done. Anyways, you know, there are times when I have, you know, pulled back a little bit with human design, because I want to make sure, well, it's not me. It's like my energy. It knows when it's time to kind of pull back and allow that integration. Because when I first started really delving into human design, I went deep into the rabbit hole, and it was all mind candy. I mean, I totally get when Ra talks about the mind candy, or when he talks about the vanity and, you know, that kind of stuff. And I just love it to be able to see the mechanics of that and the this and that of the mind, you know. And so I delved really deep, and I was inhaling the knowledge. And then I had the opportunity a year later to tap into a level 1 course and become certified as a level 1 foundation reader, for example, for human design. And what that really helped me with is to really embody and integrate in my experience and the knowledge that I took in, and to really be able to reflect back on my life experience to embody that again, because I have lived my design before in the past, along with my conditioning, of course, not all bad. But I have lived my design before, and so it was really nice coming into human design to help me get back to who I am and be okay with that, and know that there was nothing wrong with me, or that why I was the way that I was before. But there was a time where I stopped living who I am, and unfortunately it ended up causing, well, it didn't cause, I allowed how do you say that, right? It is the mechanics, it is what it is. But I've gone through a time in my life where I've been sick because of not really fully listening to my inner wisdom, my inner authority is what it's called in human design. And when we ignore that, what happens is we can become sick, whether it's as extreme as cancer, or even becoming disabled, or just being sick on a daily basis type thing, or tired, run down, burned out, anything like that. So yeah, I mean, it's been a real trip, and it's been a real trip to watch how the mind enjoys the trip, and to see the difference between how the body, the vehicle, the life moves, and how the mind goes, well, wait a minute, what about the this and that? What's really correct? What's really this? What's really going on? It just wants to grasp and hold and be able to have something super tangible, and we can't always have that. But delving into the actual experiment and allowing the body to lead and the mind to follow has been awesome, really awesome. I want to do a video next on how this has played out in my relationship with my husband, and even with my family. Not that there's a whole lot going on with my family as much as my husband, because I'm with him more, of course. But yeah, I want to talk about that for sure. So I'm going to do a video on what human design's been like with living with my husband, and why too I feel like I wasn't ready for it back when I first started waking up in 2013. So anyways, have a good day. And I know this was a little bit of ranting. I hope that it kind of made sense. And thank you for watching. Bye.